Glad you're here tonight. Another day has gone by. We're going to talk to William Gheen this first hour. ALIPAC is heavily involved in trying once again to intervene and do what's best for America. Hello, William. Welcome back.
Good evening, and we're at a new time, I guess, so maybe tonight's broadcast will be reaching or more accommodating for the people on the East Coast.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I moved it. We're on from 9 to midnight Eastern for those of you who might have missed the announcements. And you can always hear the program again because it's immediately rebroadcast after the live program, this one, concludes, so you can't miss. If you missed the first hour, you can catch it at the end of this one.
Well, you know, I'd appreciate coming on the show at any hour, but 9 p.m. definitely is a lot more convenient for me, and I just hope that all of your regular listeners and new listeners are coming in, and that we've got a good audience out there listening tonight.
Oh, we got the best. They're there. Believe it. So, all right, what are we doing here? President Jerry Kushner is working hard on his remarkable immigration plan, which is called amnesty, and we expect that to be dumped on our consciousness here, in the next day or two?
Well, it's supposed to be coming out this week, and I can bring everybody up to speed on it. We have three objectives at ALIPAC. One, we like to raise so much noise and opposition early on that the bill that it never comes out at all. If it does come out, we're hoping that we can pressure Trump and Kushner into removing the larger amnesty portions that we know they want to have in it. And then the third objective is if they roll it out with the large amnesty clauses in it and turn it into legislation, we're going to have to fight it and try to stop it in the Senate. But if we're unable to stop it in the Senate and Trump signs it into law, then everything's going to go into the twilight zone after that. That's a real mess.
That's a gentlemanly way of phrasing it. Yeah.
Well, we are increasing our pressure. You know, we used to come out through alipac.us. A lot of your listeners are already on our email alerts, and we used to sort of touch on things that were negative about President Trump's actions on immigration and then move on to some other things that other people like about what we do that we have more general acceptance on, like fighting against in-state tuition or licenses for illegal immigrants and things like that. But this week, the last week, we've done something very different. We've started hitting on Kushner and Trump about this issue, and we're not letting up. It's boom, 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 and we're really driving home because this is the crunch time. This is the push time. We had to have a sort of emergency funds drive last weekend to raise the funds we needed to be able to operate this week, and people came to the table. So we know we have that support. We have many ever-Trumpers, as we call them now. Ever-Trumpers are leaving ALIPAC and discuss, saying they can't believe we dare to question what Trump is doing, and can't you see he's trying, and the courts won't let him, and the Democrats won't let him. But at the same time, all around the nation, through this show and other methods, there are new people coming in and supporting us at alipac.us because we're on point. I don't know of any other national organization that is taking Trump to task on immigration like we are. And so,
there's none. No, you're it.
Well, we're on point, and I'd like to mention something about that because I know a lot of your listeners and a lot of the people that subscribe to our email alerts at ALIPAC are also observers, if not supporters, or interact with other organizations like Numbers USA, FAIR, and Center for Immigration Studies. These are large budget, DC-based immigration restriction groups that are older than ALIPAC, and you see them in the media more than us. Breitbart writes about them all the time, Rosemary Jinks and all them. And what we want to warn people about here is we had a disaster last year when these groups supported an amnesty deal through the Good Lot H.R. 4760 bill, which blew up in their faces. They were told by the White House they were going to get to end chain migration, and it wasn't going to be citizenship. It was just going to be deferred deportation for about 700,000 illegals. Before that bill collapsed, and thankfully the Democrats walked away from it, the offer from Trump was up to 4 million, amnesty for 4 million illegal aliens. That would be 4 million Trump voters, Trump supporters, thrown under the bus permanently in future U.S. elections, ejected, rejected, and displaced by your new illegal alien Democrats. And that was what Trump tried to do. It wasn't the Democrats that made him do it. It wasn't a court that made him try to do it. But these D.C. groups, they've been being wined and dined by the White House and being stroked, and promised things behind the scenes. And so anybody that has any time to contact Numbers USA, and FAIR, Federation of Americans for Immigration Reform, and Center for Immigration Studies. And Jeff, I don't know if you could get some of them on your show. Have you ever had those guys on your show?
No, I haven't, and I'll tell you why. There have been some erratic things that you just alluded to that I'm not comfortable with, and frankly, over the years, I've had Frosty Wildridge on the program, and Frosty is the top guy. He's what an American patriot he is. He's like you, same kind of an individual committed to this country. And
yep.
Frosty knows all of those people, so I considered him a far higher and more accessible source. But be that as it may, you just lined something out that is very worrisome. And the question I have is that were these groups so stupid that they got caught with their pants down, or what? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I've talked to some different folks about it, and some of them, you know, they were hopeful like we were in the beginning, and maybe if you're inside the Beltway in Washington, D.C., and getting invited over to the White House, you stay hopeful for a bit longer than those of us on the outside do. Or, you know, vinegar and honey. Some people try to, you know, persuade and influence things through a honey approach, and some through a vinegar approach. And we're done with the honey at Allipac. We're over to straight vinegar, concentrated vinegar now.
Oh, it's the only medicine that will possibly work. Period.
Possibly sterilize this problem, and so you know, it's hard to say, but you know, we need to put a light on these groups, because you see what's going to happen is right now, if Kushner and Trump believe that Numbers USA and FAIR and CIS won't fight them full force on the bill, that's what they want. Okay, and they'll tell them anything. They'll put anything in the bill. They'll put anything in the bill, and these groups are being very foolish and ridiculous. You know, did they not see what just happened on February 15th, 2019, and what Donald Trump signed into law, even though the Angel families begged him not to? Did they not see the amnesty that got stuck in there? Did they not see the H-2B unskilled labor visa increase that got
Trump
stuck in
people
there?
Knew everything.
You know, why would these people be showing Jared Kushner their cards and setting at the table and giving away all the strategic stuff to the Kushners and the Trumps? Did they not see what a disaster H.R. 4760, their baby, their good lot baby deal turned into last year? It's beyond that. All these groups need to be 120% fighting against Trump and Kushner's immigration reform plans that are rolling out here real soon, and it's going to take people who have been members and donors of these groups calling them up and spreading the word about that to get on to them, because Allipac, we're in the right position here. We need these D.C. groups to not, because they could throw the race, they could throw the battle, they could completely
they could sell us out so fast. Listen, here's a suggestion. Not that you've got the time, but maybe somebody in your organization can. When this President Kushner immigration plan is put on the table, you're going to be all over it. And we'll pull the pieces out that are clearly treasonous and of a betraying nature. FAIR, Numbers USA, you have to call them officially and formally as a partner in this effort to stop amnesty and get them to go on record as stating why they're not going to oppose this 120%, unless they are. They need to be pushed by Allipac, and you can put out a press release on it. It wouldn't bother me in the least.
Well, I'm probably going to do that, something like that next week. I'm probably going to give these groups the attention that we need to make sure that,
yes,
you know, but respectfully so, because I got to tell you, while FAIR, the organization, the top leadership of FAIR has always been, the top guys have been horrible to us. A lot of the workers and the people like middle level and lower management at FAIR have been great. There's a lot of FAIR donors and supporters that are very key to our organization. Numbers USA, before the good lot HR 4760 split between us, which was very heartbreaking for me, for the first 13 years of Allipac's existence, that Numbers USA was so helpful and so welcoming, you know. And Center for Immigration Studies, or CIS, me and Mr. McCracorian have had our sabers crossed on some different issues from time to time. But originally, when Allipac was first founded, we called our platform, it was a 4-point platform, we called the Krikorian chair, based off of a speech I'd seen Mark Krikorian, or some interview I'd seen with Mark Krikorian about how you had to treat illegal immigration with a comprehensive approach between border security and interior enforcement and cracking down on employers and cutting off benefits and that sort of thing. So we modeled the Alley platform into the Krikorian chair. Now, since then, we've taken his name off of it and expanded it and elaborated on it. But
right.
There's a lot of things to respect these groups about, and what they've done in the past and all this other stuff. But the current strategic situation, we've got to mount pressure on them to come away.
I would absolutely go. Excuse me. I would go right in their face and say, I want to know what you're going to do about this. We're going to put it out in our press release. We want to know we're all working together. That's why I'm calling you. I want to be sure you're aware of all the things we are. We need to compare notes briefly here and then get a commitment from you. I would pressure them.
Well, what we are, and the other thing is, too, the key here is the Democrats that Trump is putting into position. And one of the things that's happened since the last show, on several shows I've been on with you, we've been hammering Kushner very hard, and he deserves every bit of it, because Trump has made he's made a big strategic mistake trying to force Kushner on us. Now, Kushner is good at what he does, and he has a high chance of success at doing this, okay? But putting a lifelong Democrat with no experience on the issue into play here is really turning off a lot of the people he's going to need in 2020. But, as a press release that we're just putting out tomorrow morning, I can tell you about it now because it's on deck in the announcement section. If anybody wants a sneak peek, I say point blank, each week President Trump offends and betrays his base and supporters in a new ways. Okay, because the new thing is he is now appointing Mark Morgan to the head of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. He's got a Democrat in charge of immigration legislation through Jared Kushner, and now the top immigration law enforcer for the nation is Obama's appointee. He wants to take Obama's Democrat appointee, Mark Morgan, who supports amnesty for illegal immigrants, and he's making him the head of ICE. And this has got a lot of Trump supporters livid, because we voted for Trump to have nothing to do with Obama. And we've been sitting here for over 2 years now watching reports from Border Patrol agents and Border Patrol unions saying we're having trouble doing the job because for some reason the Trump administration has left all these Obama people in charge in the agency. He's left all the middle managers and the top managers in the hands of the Obama people, and our hands are tied. We're getting creamed at the border because the Obama people are making us get creamed. And now here's Trump putting Obama's top border chief in the top immigration and customs enforcement position, which is 180 degrees
What does
different.
that tell us, William? What does it tell us about labels? What does it tell us about big politics? It tells us they're all in it together. Ultimately, there's not much difference. This is an outrage. He has not cleaned house. That's an important story that doesn't get talked about. So many Obama people are still there in the bureaucracy, in the upper levels of the bureaucracy. It's not funny, but nobody knows about it because nobody talks about it.
Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. And, as soon as the news about Mark Morgan came out, our very dedicated 24/7, 7 days a week, AlleyPack.us volunteers on the forums at AlleyPack started compiling information. And, by the way, some of the people posting and commenting regularly on our boards now are from, we gathered up from the Jeff Rense show, and they're very adamant about doing that, letting people know that, and they're also reminding people about show times and these interviews coming up. But here's the skinny on Mark Morgan. Now Mark Morgan, they put him, now that Trump wants him, he's been on Fox News, pro-amnesty Fox News, where he said he likes a border wall and he supports Trump's immigration plans. And so we have actually had some pushback on our survey. I'm getting to the point about a survey and poll, because tomorrow's press release, and I'm going to talk to you guys about tonight, is about this internal poll that we did at AlleyPack and on our social media pages and whatnot. But here's an article from, let's see here, AJC. Is that the Wall Street? Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Constitution, yeah.
Yeah, and this is Jamie Dupree's article of May 5th, 2019, And it says President Donald Trump, it says the title is, once called a disgrace, Trump taps ex-Obama Border Patrol chief for ICE. President Donald Trump continued his leadership shakeup on immigration at the Department of Homeland Security on Sunday, tweeting he was naming former Obama administration official Mark Morgan to be the new head of federal immigration enforcement. Mark is a true believer and an American patriot, the president tweeted, because Obama, he really hired a bunch of true believers, American patriots, didn't he? And he will do a great job. Former FBI agent Morgan has been a frequent presence on the Fox News business networks in recent months, lending his support to the president's push to crack down on illegal immigration. Quote, the president is absolutely correct when he says this is a national security and a humanitarian crisis, Morgan said in January about the need to protect the southern border. Now, here's the thing. Morgan was seen much differently by supporters of President Trump back in 2015 when Morgan was tapped to head to Border Patrol at the end of the Obama administration, as the main Union Border Patrol agents bluntly and publicly denounced Morgan's leadership. Quote, Chief Morgan is a disgrace to the Border Patrol, the National Border Patrol Council wrote November 30th, 2016, declaring that Morgan, quote, does not have the will to secure the border. The union, which represents over 16,000 Border Patrol agents, blasted Morgan for testimony in the late 2016 to a Senate committee in which he embraced the idea of comprehensive immigration reform. And we all know from listening to Jeff Rense show and going to allipac.us that the words comprehensive immigration reform means amnesty.
Yep.
Quote, this is directly contrary to the voice and will of the vast majority of Republicans elected to Congress, the union wrote about Morgan. It is also directly contrary to the President-elect Trump's comments while on the campaign trail.
A year and a half's worth.
But now he's on Fox News talking tough and agreeing with Trump. And
he's running his mouth. He's an idiot. Here, let me read. The Washington Examiner has some good journalism recently. They usually do. Former officials who served at the top of the Department of Homeland Security are worried Mark Morgan, President Trump's new pick to lead Immigration and Customs Enforcement, is better suited to Fox News than leading the agency. Two top Homeland Security officials who spoke with the Washington Examiner Monday described Morgan as a career FBI employee with less than 1 year of experience working in any Homeland Security entity, who likely got his job because he used TV stints to woo Trump. Quote, what he does is he goes on Fox News and shoots his mouth out about how he was in charge of border security and the Border Patrol for 3 months, said the first official, former DHS official, who has led 2 DHS agencies and asked to speak on background to avoid upsetting clients. People look, he said, at that as he's some kind of an expert. He's far from an expert. He's just a loyalist, okay? He gets on Fox and talks about how good the president is. The president loves it. Why don't we just hire this guy? And that's what it took.
Because it's part of the show.
That's right.
It's part of the Trump show. It's and I got some new words for Trump that I'll go ahead and spout out now. Con Don or Don the Con. I don't know which one I like better. Con Don.
Don the Con.
Don the Con.
And President Plump, and President Trump, and President Chump. Don't forget those.
Well, we've turned some of these into hashtags. Talker Trump. Because, Trump likes to put a name on people. It was Lion Ted and so. He makes 2-word name connections on people. So we've got, it's Talker Trump, because that's what he does. And Do Nothing Don. These
tweet,
are all...
tweet Trump. That's all he is. President by tweet.
So these are hashtags now. But we did an online survey, and we asked our AlleyPac email alert list of over 50,000 Americans, and we checked in with our Facebook page and our Twitter page, and we said, how do you feel about President Trump's decision to hire Obama's amnesty-supporting border chief, Mark Morgan, to run our U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE? And, of course, Mark Morgan is blue, and anytime you see anything blue on our website or in an email, means you can click it and get more information. It said, reply to this email with your answers or comments. Do you approve or disapprove? And the press release, which is on deck to go out tomorrow morning, points out that Americans for Legal Immigration PAC is releasing the results of an online poll sampling the national organization's 50,000 email subscribers about Mark Morgan. 90% of email respondents disapprove of Trump's decision to put Obama's appointee Mark Morgan in charge of ICE, as did 78% on Facebook and 79% on Twitter. Now, we're getting shadow banned and messed with by Facebook and Twitter all the time, so we didn't get the, but we got about 200 people on Twitter and 1,000 people on Facebook showing 4 out of 5 disagree with what Trump has done here. The base is being offended again and again and again by this man.
Well, as we go to break here, the question remains, how many times does his base have to get stabbed in the back by their hero before they figure it out? I can't understand it. And when I watch these rallies, William, and everything he says gets these wild cheering ovations, no matter what the hell he says, I'm concerned that these people aren't thinking anymore at all. They're just reacting. Hold on. We'll be right back with William Gheen, alipac.us. Talking with William Gheen of Alipac. Sorry we haven't gotten our site updated. My webmaster actually lives in Brazil, and he's missing. Don't know where he is. William is up first tonight, then Joel Skousen, then Mike McGill on hour 3. So we will continue with or without the notification, but there it is. All right, William, what else is next? Oh, let me ask you one other thing.
Sure.
This whole Jerry Kushner thing really bothers me. He is eminently involved in Donald Trump's foreign policy. We know that. We know he's got this thing in his head where Mossad Kushner is going to come up with the ultimate Middle East peace solution, the big peace plan. So now he's going to solve the border crisis, right? Who's the president here? Seriously, who's creating policy? Or is Trump just laying around in his silk pajamas thinking up clever tweets and has his stuff pushed in front of his nose and he said, yeah, it sounds right? Or he does what he's told, or somebody kind of massages him into doing. I don't know who the hell's in charge. It seems to me Kushner's in charge.
Well, Ann Coulter seems to agree, and Kushner is he's the one that pushed out Steve Bannon and
That's
probably
right.
Jeff Sessions and all the other true immigration hawks that had long, positions against the illegal immigration and for border security that got abused and axed and mistreated by this administration. So
yeah, Ann's right. She's got it.
And look at who Trump hires. Trump hires the swamp. Trump has jumped into the D.C. swamp like a Mar-a-Lago hot tub.
Exactly. Well said. Yeah.
And actually, we pulled up some interesting stuff because I got very curious about Trump's actual voter registration history, and some of our Alipac activists jumped in and found some information over at Wikipedia and a couple other sites. And let me see if I can find where this is. Trump's actual... Okay, here we go. Apparently, Donald Trump registered as a Republican in Manhattan back in 1987. And since that time, he has changed his party affiliation 5 times. In 1999, Trump changed his party affiliation to the Independence Party of New York, whatever that is. In August of 2001, Trump changed his party affiliation to Democrat. In September of 2009, Trump changed his party affiliation back to the Republican Party. So it looks like Trump was a Democrat from 2001 to 2009 until sometime during the first year of Obama's presidency. Then in December of 2011, Trump changed his party to no affiliation, independent, and then in April 2012, he again returned to the Republican Party. Wow. So Trump's not a solid.
No, look, this is, I think, the biggest con job that I remember in my lifetime, as far as somebody misrepresenting themselves. Ann Coulter writes, briefly, big news out of the White House this week. After a beehive of activity, Jared Kushner will finally be unveiling his comprehensive immigration plan. Reportedly, the proposed bill keeps the number of new immigrants per year at 1 million. Whoop-de-doo, huh? But stresses merit-based admissions over familial ties. Little else is known about the bill beyond bland generalities, humanitarian needs, border security, protecting American wages, and moving in the right direction. In anticipation of the big reveal, let's look back at why we voted for Trump in the first place by revisiting his miracle campaign, as described in my book, In Trump We Trust. Note that none of the reasons we voted for him was that we thought he was an amazing businessman. None of them. Soon to be proved by his tax returns, indeed. And she goes on to say a number of things. You can find the article. Let me just do a little bit more here. The media were dying to call Trump's immigration policies racist, and he tricked them into trying, with the GOP helping. Unfortunately for the media and the Republican brain trust, Trump's policies were popular with all kinds of voters. It wasn't just angry white men who were losing jobs to wage-depressing, admittedly hard-working Mexicans. So were black people. So were Hispanics, at least a third of who oppose amnesty. It's one thing to push an unpopular idea. The GOP does that all the time. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, privatizing Social Security, and how about that Iraq War? Anyway, the article goes on, but she's got it, and many Americans are getting it. And you people listening who are still supporting this man, thinking he's playing 5D chess or something, you've got to get a grip. You've been sold out to the max.
Yeah, I even, do you know Pamela Geller?
Yeah.
She got upset at one of my last press releases and left our press list.
What?
She said
I don't know her personally, but I certainly know her work. What is her problem?
She said I was being too hard on Trump.
Uh-oh.
And I wrote her back, and I was like, look, I said, we need people to come to terms with what's going on here, Cause
it's called reality. That's not a good sign for her pedigree.
Well, look, and since the last show, there's this picture that popped up of Jared. Have you seen the picture of Jared Kushner and Ivanka all cuddled up with their arms around Cory Booker?
No.
Well, apparently, since the last show, some information and articles came out that Ivanka and Jared gave Cory Booker somewhere around in their affiliates, the people associated with, gave Cory Booker somewhere around $40,000 for his Senate run back in 2013. And there's this picture of them all with their arms around Cory Booker and all of them just grinning and looking all so happy together. So we put together a meme that's now available on my William Gheen Facebook pages and Twitter that's got this picture. It says, Democrats running the White House. Jared Kushner should not be crafting immigration reform amnesty bills after donating to Cory Booker. And a lot of people were like, this has got to be fake news or a hoax, but it's absolutely true. It says, let's see here.
I'm looking at the picture now. I'm repulsive. Yeah.
See if you can find a place on Rense for that one. It says, a picture has emerged of Trump's senior advisors, Jared and Ivanka Kushner, posing with liberal Democrat U.S. Senator Cory Booker, while on Monday, April 29, 2019, the International Business Times cited data compiled by PoliticalMoneyline.com, reporting that Kushner and other affiliated donors, quote, delivered more than $41,000 to Booker's Senate campaign in 2013.
Uh-oh.
Now that's fresh, that's just 2 years before Trump ran for president, and here's this guy pumping in $40,000 into the gun-grabbing, amnesty-supporting, socialist agenda, Green New Deal backing, far left as they come, not even a more moderate, perceived as moderate Democrat. All right, they're called right in bed with the far left.
Oh, we're toast. This all over. I'll put this picture up with I have a quite a little run of Kushner Trump pictures. I'll add it to that. Yeah, we did look. How many times are people going to be stabbed in the back before they figure it out? I just don't get it. How can he have any base left? Don't understand.
It's still, the word is getting around. And one of the things I tell people is that the truth has a power and the truth has a way of catching up with people. And the truth is going to catch up with Donald Trump and Jared Kushner. It's going to catch up with them. The question is, can we, by working together, combining our time, energy, thoughts, resources, funds, can we help the truth catch up with them in time? Can it catch up with in time?
I don't know. The clock is running. We got 18 months till the election. That's it. Something like that now.
Well, we're going to find out tomorrow, Thursday, or the day after Friday, if Kushner actually unveils his immigration plan this week, as they had planned.
We can bet on what the flavor is going to be. It's going to be socialist pink.
Well, one of our first objectives at AliPac was to try to get them to push this one back to the drawing board, because anytime we fought amnesty in the past, dragging out the timeline has been a key to success. It takes us longer to get information out there because we're not the gazillionaires, Donald Trump and CNN and Fox News, faux news. So it takes us longer for our information to travel and circulate hand to hand through all the male and female Paul Reveres out there that are taking podcasts like this. And one other request, Jeff, you did this a couple weeks back where you put our interview up on YouTube, and I think it got quite a bit of viewership. Is there any chance tonight's episode could possibly make the Rense channel again? Because if you get it up, I'll circulate it to all of our channels.
Yeah, I'll have it to you by tomorrow morning.
That's awesome. I appreciate it so much. Our news travels slower because we're battling uphill from the grassroots and from the base up, okay? They're up at the top of the Illuminati symbol on the pyramid, broadcasting down, trickle down information, okay? And we're push up information and rolling that, the boulders up the hill. But we can get there. And if Kushner's plan falls back to next week, that's a good sign for us. Any hour we can gain, any day we can gain, any week we can gain. Pushing it back plays to our favor, because every day an hour passes, we get closer to the 2020 elections, which will shut this thing down, and we get closer. We get a chance for more of the truth to get out and about what's going on. That's why they rushed that budget bill in secret so much, and that's another thing is whatever Kushner rolls out on paper, okay, they may have a plan to try to sanitize it and say, look, the William Gheens and the Jeff Renses of the world were chicken littles in the sky.
You bet they will. They're going to spin this any way you can imagine. You got it.
Right, but by the time the legislation actually emerges on the floor of the Senate to be voted on,
right,
and what's in it by that point of this sausage-making process, and this is some rotten sausage they're cooking up there. It's toxic. It's poison. It's nationally deadly, sausage-making going on up in there.
They're going to approve 1 million a year, okay, ladies and gentlemen? And remember, this year, at least 1.5 million are going to walk through that invisible border. They're going to come right in. And the word is out. Do you know, William, that already over 1% of the aggregate populations of Guatemala and Honduras have moved to America since last September? Over 1% of their population is now up here, just since last September.
Yeah, in like about 7 or 8 months.
That's right.
Yep. And the recycling of the children and the pressure on the children. We predicted on this very show that after Trump signed that dastardly secretive budget bill with the protections for the people who had them a illegal alien minor in their presence, we predicted that the value on them would go sky high on the black market, and that's exactly what happened. And and it's amazing. We're reading all these articles everywhere, all through the media, all over the place about the kids are coming and the kids are being recycled but none of them mention that Donald Trump made that happen with his own signature on February 15th of this year when he signed that budget bill.
Nobody holds him accountable. And I tell you again, when I watch little clips of these rallies, I really fear for the immediate future of our country. These people just will not look at reality.
Well, I got a feeling that sometime before the end of the summer, I might go to one of these rallies. I think I might go to one of these rallies, and not to go into the rally, but to hand out something and to talk to people in the line.
Use a different name if you have to sign anything. And
I'll tell them who I am, but I'll get up there and get in the Trump line and start handing out. Well, right now,
just go right down the line. That's right. It'll be a block or two long. Just go right down the line.
Well, and I'll hand them the list. It was 10 things that Trump lied about, or 10 broken campaign promises. Now that he's putting Democrat Obama, Mark Morgan in charge of ICE, that's going to be number 11.
Yep.
We'll probably at one generating a week. I'll be at number 15 or 20. So by the time I get to one of these Trump rallies, handing out stuff in a line, saying it'll be here's the top 15 or 20.
You should do it.
Bull crap horse hockey things that Trump has done on immigration that cost him my support, and hand it to these people. And if they want to yell at me or call me a never Trumper or Democrat, whatever, they can come on. They can spit all over me, and I'll keep getting in their face with the truth over and over and over again, because I'm not going to stop doing that. I'm not going to stop doing it. Every single time I post and circulate something on Facebook and Twitter now, these ever-Trumpers are coming at me because I'm in the midst of them, and I'm making contact exactly where I need to be making contact, on my email list, in the social media, in the cybersphere, on talk radio shows. And we're getting it. We're making that contact, and they can still find plenty of people to fill Trump stadiums. I'm sure that they're probably dialing things in a little differently and trying to pick where they're going to. I got a feeling Trump won't be coming to Raleigh, North Carolina, to make anything easy on me, and he won't be going in near anybody else that would do something similar. And not to tell you how to run your show, Jeff, I'm really glad to hear that you have Frosty Woolridge on there, but, any other immigration content, folks, you can get on over the next week or so, anything you can do.
Well, why don't you plan on, if you can, just coming back, just let me know when you want to. We'll bring you right back on. This is something for you to handle. I can't go picking through the Patriot field looking for somebody at this late date, so you're welcome if you want to come on. Anytime.
Well, I'll definitely be here, but if you have Frosty on, let me know, because
Frosty's on vacation. Well earned.
Okay.
He's on long trip for 6 months. He's gone. He's having fun. So bless that. We got. Yeah, he's going on major bicycle rides and a motorcycle trip. The guy's amazing. He's been on he's crossed 6 continents by bicycle.
Wow.
He's incredible.
Okay. Well, I guess that's one way to get in shape.
He's 70 years old. He's like he's 25. He's
amazing.
Frosty
really 70?
Yep.
Wow. Well, I hate that he's on a trip during this type of mess, because
he's watching. If he contacts me, I'll try and pull him on. But I'd like to leave him alone. He works so damn hard. Here's the other problem, and I'm going to go back to what you said earlier. FAIR, Numbers USA. We've got. I don't know what we have. Who are these people running these organizations when they're not standing openly with you? Why are you the one who is out in front, on point, as you said, with the truth, and they're not? They should be yelling just as loudly as we do, and they're not. So that bothers me a lot.
Well, I think they're inside the Beltway, and they're trying to temper. Because if you talk like William Gheen, you don't get invited to the parties anymore, and you don't get on the conference calls, and you don't get to come into the White House to be wined and dined by Jared Kushner.
Well, power is an intoxicant. I understand what you're saying, but these are supposedly...
They want to protect their access. I have no desire. I want access to lawmakers to get my job done, but not that way. And somebody's got to do things the way that I do things. And I think that some of the people at Numbers USA understand that. FAIR, I got to be honest, their subgroup Early, the lawyer part, has been a big help. But, Numbers USA and CIS have both done so much more than FAIR. FAIR is the biggest ship, yet the slowest to turn. And
well, that's suspicious. I'm not paranoid. But that's suspicious to me. And I understand when they're on the inside, they've got to play the game, they've got to schmooze, they've got to do this and that. But if it compromises their mission, what good are they? If they're selling out America, which is what I see essentially happening to one degree or another, and I invite all of the people who may be listening, who are in those organizations, to shake them up a little bit. Maybe join AliPac as well. You don't have to stay with one. Join Williams' organization. Let them know. Let some of your friends know who are in FAIR and Numbers that you're in 2 organizations, because the others aren't They're not standing upright. They're just not.
Some of our largest donors are fair supporters that were looking for a more aggressive approach.
Well, they got the best of the best right here. I hope they stick with you.
Well, I appreciate that. They have mostly. One of our folks we haven't heard from this year, and we're hoping that they're in good health and that everything's okay. But, a lot of our supporters, too, are getting on up in years as I had
a story today, William, when the boomers are gone, the bloodshed begins. And there may be a lot of truth to that. Our leadership, our wisdom, our guidance, our patriotism, our commitment, and I mean all of you listening who care about this, and that's 99% of you, when it's gone, what is there to replace it? The millennials? Generation Z coming up behind them? I had to go to the DMV today. I counted 7 people in there. 6 of them were staring at their phones the whole time.
Well, that's the country now. That's
it.
Everybody.
There's nothing surprising about it. But when you sit and look at it, and I don't go out very much, it just really is. I don't want to say frightening, but it's what I'm watching. Mass addiction is what I'm watching.
Electronic zombie land, and then and most of those people on Facebook, Twitter, or something like that. And then what was it? I'm trying to think who said this. I think it was Matt Drudge that called social media the internet ghettos, as places for people to be put in information-controlled, I guess, large number of people in high-rises type thing, where everybody.
Well, it's a gulag is the word. It's like they're gulags.
Internet gulags.
Yeah. And
it's trying to figure out what's going to happen on Game of Thrones next. They're detached and fragmented, and it's really hard to reach a lot of them. But we do what we can, and we're still in the game. And we beat. Once again, I got to remind everybody, because I know a lot of people are like, "Oh gosh, well if Trump's not going to work, who do we have for 2020?" Well, we don't know yet. I'm still hopeful. I am still hopeful that sometime soon, maybe Ann Coulter, James Wood, somebody is going to run against Trump or run as an independent or give us some voice in the national presidential election.
Anything to put pressure on that guy to keep him at least remotely honest and honorable.
We need a new president that's not Donald Trump and not a Democrat and not one of these Jeb Bush, G.W. Bush rhinos either. We need a president that is none of those above. All those people and the people that they represent have completely blown it. They've wrecked the country. They've wrecked D.C. They've done a terrible job on all major issues, and we need a new president. We need a new candidate to emerge, and I am hopeful that, as more of us take the president to task and Kushner and all these people to task, and the more the word gets out there, that large groups of people like us are looking for representation. If someone will come and speak for us on that level that can do it, that has some personal wealth and greater name recognition, from being in the media's eye or something like that, maybe something like that, that can do something like that, they would be amazed at how much of the country would coalesce around them if they just said the things that Donald Trump said during his election, but made it very clear that they really meant what they were trying to do. It would be massive, and it would be like an avalanche. It would start with like a little snowflake, turning into a small snowball, turning into a huge national avalanche coming down the mountain.
I'd like to see Ann do it. I think she'd be perfect. I want to caution everyone, watch for Pete Buttigieg. He's coming, and they're going to push him. This is their big, I think that this is their big show to try to make homosexuality acceptable. You got to go back. What do we have with the Clintons? Briefly, we had a rapist and a ferocious butch lesbian. All right, that's the fact of the matter. What do we have after that? We had the village idiot. There are at least 10 pictures of George W. Bush kissing the heads of bald men. Jeff Gannon, alleged journalist, checked into the White House and spent the night, I believe it was over 150 times. So we probably had an obvious homosexual president then. Bisexual. And then what do we have? Flaming Barry Soetoro. 8 years, flaming with his Reggie Love boyfriend. So Barry Soetoro, is quite obviously gay. Who is he married to? Michael Robinson. We had a male playing the First Lady for 8 years. So the seeds have been sown for sexual depravity to be now mainstream. Pete Buttigieg is coming on strong. The guy, good presence, speaks very well. Watch this. Just watch it happen. I'm telling you, the media is going to give him a pass on the fact that he's married to a man openly. Obama was married to a man, that most people didn't talk about it. Joan Rivers did. Then she died. Anyway, Joan was a friend of mine, and the woman was very brave. But watch out for Pete Buttigieg. I think he may be the ticket. And if not the ticket, he's young. He'll be the vice president on Hillary Clinton's ticket. Don't laugh. You know how I feel about that, and you know what I think's coming. And if you look at her recent pictures, you've seen the miracles of cosmetic surgery. Her neck is now as smooth and tight as a 10-year-old girl's. She's been done. It's her campaign face now. Take a look. Take a see. William, thank you. When this Kushner plan rolls out, just consider yourself on the air that night. Whatever you want, just call me. Let me know. We'll put it together.
That sounds great. And if there's anybody out there listening live or to the replays or podcast, if you're not on the AliPac email alerts, please join them soon at www.alipac.us. That's alipac.us. We'd love to have you in our network.
Thank you, William. Talk soon.
Thank you, Jeff.